Important tips and resources for buying your home.
Housing prices in Brentwood are up 20% this year, and they may slow, but they're most likely going to continue. And this story is pretty similar for Dublin and Mountain House and a lot of these cities that are about an hour and a half out. As long as they don't have a super high crime rate and they have a good population growth and job growth and stuff like that, we're looking pretty good for those to be potential investment options. Bear in mind, you can turn any property into a deal. Like I said at the beginning, if I offer 620,000 and the person just absolutely needs to be out of there today because something drastic happened in their life and they need the cash today, then I can turn any deal in any market. Santa Clara, Sunnyvale, doesn't matter how expensive the property is, you can make anywhere a deal. So then I would be looking to rent it out for 2 to 5 years. The reason it's not like a 1 year fix and flip kind of thing is because you're not buying in equity by going and rehabbing the property for 30,000 and making it worth another 100,000. You're letting the inflation from the economy right now go. You're riding that wave for 4 or 5 years, letting it go up. I would ride it as long as possible, honestly. It's probably going to last about 10 years before I don't even think it's going to stop at 10 years. I think it's just going to slow down. But for sure, the next 5 years, you would be riding a pretty big wave of price appreciation. And you'd be able to use that to hopefully go and refinance and start purchasing second, third property, stuff like that. And another quick tip here for those of you guys that don't know. The refinance rule of thumb, first off, you got to wait 6 months of renting out the property before the bank will let you refinance. And they start to look at it kind of like a business at that point. And you're going to have the LTV ratio that they're going to offer you, which is essentially the loan to value ratio. And that should be 80% or lower to refinance. This means you have to have at least 20% equity in your home. You can do that by waiting 10 years for people to pay down the property at 2 or 3% a year for you, $3,000 a month, or you can do that by a combination of waiting those couple of years for them to pay it down, plus having the property go up in value, so that when they reanalyze the property and they see that the property on the market is worth another $300,000-$400,000 just because you waited 4 years and inflation drove it up, now the bank is looking at that total value of the property. And they basically have this equity that they're looking at is going to be different than the number that you paid down. It's going to be much larger, and they could potentially pay you to go and own a second property. Now, that refinance would probably free up $50,000 to $200,000 in the next couple of years, and you'd be able to go purchase that second rental property and grow laterally from that point. So that was, the 4 criteria that you're looking at in order to pick a good market. And then we sort of deep dived into Brentwood specifically. I just kind of arbitrarily picked it. It's not necessarily my favorite or least favorite market. I was just kind of picking one and going after an average deal so that we had a good idea of how, you guys had a good idea how my thought process was. What I want to do now is open it up for you guys to be able to, ask any questions you have. And then we'll wrap it up in the next, 30, 40 minutes or so if nobody has any further questions after that. So if you have a question, you can go ahead and unmute your mic and you can shoot it at me and we'll see what we can do. And if you guys are interested in, going and starting to put in some offers on these properties, and taking a look at these different places for either a primary residence or an investment property, and you want to work with me or one of the agents here, I'll drop my phone number and email down in the description, and I'll either set you up with an appointment with me, one of the other agents, and then we'll be able to go through and help you guys out to the best of our ability. So I'm just going to go over to the chat real quick.
Hi.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Madhu. So whatever the knowledge I have, I'll be, kind of asking questions in that format itself. So at least whatever I heard from, people outside, it's like when you're buying an investment property, is it that you need to put a 25% down payment, or?
You said 3%?
25%.
35% for an investment property? 25%. So
yeah,
you were probably what they were probably looking at when that situation was going on are the properties down here in Santa Clara and San Jose that are over $750,000. And then what they want you to do is put down at least 20%. Now, if you're working with a hard money lender where they're trying to charge you an additional fee to either rehab or to get some money for the down payment, or if you're trying to purchase the property all cash or for 25% cash to the homeowner, then, you know, to incentivize them to give you a deal on the front end, because that's where you're making all your money, you know, then that's what you would do. But from the bank, as long as it's under $750,000, you're going to be able to get in there from anywhere from 3% to 10%. It's kind of going to be your choice, and it's going to depend heavily on the lender that you're working with, which is why it's good to work with a mortgage broker that we can set you up with that can give you all of the options from all of the banks and all of their numbers, as opposed to working with a lender from a specific bank that's only going to be able to offer you one set of numbers and one set of down payment numbers and stuff like that. Does that make sense?
Join our weekly webinar. Call us now at 408-763-8131 or scan the QR code.